Hi everyone, this is Chris, aka Magoogs, aka Mac to the Gow, aka Chris. Today we're going to take a quick break from Season 2 and present to you, as promised, the Season 1 review panel. We have PLL experts Caroline and Emily returning. Very thankful for their appearance. And a new expert who goes by the moniker AO3 Expert. Now, for those of you in the know, you probably already know what her expertise is. So just a quick content warning. Things are going to get a little spicy. We don't get into too much detail, but, just a heads up. But yeah, we're going to get into Season 1 about each liar and some of my theories and hearing what my experts have to say, their input. It's a lovely chat. It's a little bit longer than my usual episode, so just a heads up on that as well. And I wanted to give a quick shout out to a very lovely review that someone named Fulgit, hope I said that pronounced that correctly, left. I just want to say thank you so much for the lovely review. That was so nice to read this morning as I was editing this podcast. Also, quick shout out to Fulgit, who listened to Hellmouthy. Kelly and Ryan, my goodness, Kelly and Ryan are so amazing, so funny. I was so honored to be on their show, and I would love to collab with them again. So we'll put this out in the universe, you and me, Fulgit. I would love to do something with them again. They were so awesome. And I would not be here without having been a part of the Hellmouthy experience. I mean, I learned probably some of my style comes from, hanging out with them. So it's a delight. And thank you for listening. Thank you all for listening. I really appreciate it. And enjoy the Season 1 review. And the next week we'll continue on with Season 2. And we'll go from there. But I've already said too much. So let's just dive into the panel. Chris watches Pretty Little Liars. Chris watches Pretty Little Liars. Chris watches Pretty Little Liars, so he can help you figure out who's A. Hello, everybody. Chris watches Pretty Little Liars fans. I am here with previously on PLL experts Caroline and Emily to kind of talk about the Season 1 as a whole. Say hello.
Hello.
Howdy.
So I kind of told you, the two of you, what I was thinking for this little recap. We'll kind of go over first, maybe each liar in turn, talk about maybe where they started, where they ended up, how you feel about that, and then maybe talk about A in general, and then kind of open it up to anything you want to add. So I think let's start with Aria. Aria just came back to Rosewood, right? The beginning of the very show, right? So she was gone in Iceland, right? Yeah. Is that where she was?
Yeah.
So they came back to Rosewood, fell in love with a teacher. For basically the entire
didn't
Season
know
1.
He was her teacher, though.
That's true. That's true. But that's pretty much her romantic journey through the season, right? Kind of the will they, won't they, kind of off again thing.
They shouldn't.
Yeah.
But doesn't she also have like that? Like she goes on like a double date and like kind of dates Noel, right?
Yep. There's a brief like, oh, is Noel? Because I guess she used to be into Noel during the Alley days, so that was kind of right, like a little. Oh, is this the thing? And then turned out Noel is very scary. very, very scary.
Good teeth, though.
Very.
Just trying to. I don't remember what happens in singing 1, but the singing happens between Noel and Aria, correct?
That's the song.
I think it's when the storm happens and they're all at the school.
Yep.
No.
But yeah, I mean, romantically, it's basically fits with a touch of Noel there, like a flirtation with Noel. It's a light spoiler. Light spoiler, deleting light spoiler.
No.
Is that a spoiler? Is that a spoiler? Okay.
Cut that out. Sorry.
Well, cut that out. Here. Okay.
I read about that. That's not Season 1?
In case there's a jump cut there, that might be a spoiler. But yeah. So I think it's just Noel and Fitz. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, and then her parents have a lot of change. And of course, Mike grows from a kind of supportive younger brother who's kind of relying on Aria to being quite a grumpy butt by the end of the first season.
Say the least.
So yeah, I mean, does she feel like the most stable of the 4 liars, like at least emotionally and within her home life at the end of that first season, or how do y'all feel about Aria?
So Aria is probably the most emotionally stable in terms of her home life because she avoids her home life and just hangs out with Fitz. Everyone else seems far more engaged in terms of being at home. I don't know if it's a fair comparison, but overall, she's probably like I guess, the most emotionally put together, the most emotionally sure of herself.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to think about the other three. And I guess she is, but I also think that her parents really encouraged her to be like independent and, kind of do whatever she wanted to do. And I think you can probably attribute it to that. Whereas the others are kind of more trying to like make their parents proud, or they're kind of afraid of their parents. So she's kind of more of like, I think, the person she wants to be rather than who other people want her to be.
And sometimes she is the parent to her parents, right? There's occasionally where they're a little,
Byron and Ella are stupid and make poor life choices. And yes, sometimes Arya does have to be the voice of reason, which is crazy because she is not reasonable a lot of the time.
It's true. She's not.
And then I was thinking also in terms of we'll talk about this with all four liars. She got a lot of the A stuff kind of early on in the first season when there was like, hey, I know about Fitz and the letters being sent, right? But I think toward the end, she wasn't getting as much harassment from what I recall. Like there's still some Fitz stuff, right? But there wasn't a whole lot left. Yeah.
I feel like she and Hannah get the brunt of it for a good bit, but then it does
there's the Fitz stuff and then her parents' stuff, right?
Right. And I don't know this yet. The two of you as experts may recall. I'm assuming at some point, well, this is just my assumption. I don't even call this a theory, but at some point there something to do with her parents has to do with A. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I mean, because at the very, very beginning of the season, we see the flashback with Allison and Arya seeing her dad and the teacher have an affair. And that's like, it's a thing. And we hardly ever talk about that again. But I feel like that's somehow tied in this whole Allison A thing. I don't know how. I don't know.
I mean, not to spoil anything because it's not, but you just got to remember the parents of Rosewood don't seem to care about their children at all. They are not the best parents. They are not invested in the well-being of their children, seemingly, other than Mama Marin. I do love her. She's great. So, yeah, they're kind of terrible. And the roles they play sometimes just come down to the fact that they're bad parents.
Now, I have a question for you guys. Mm-hmm. Do you think if Pretty Little Liars was made today that the parents would be portrayed in the same way?
No.
You don't think so, Emily?
I think they would have to make some definite changes.
I don't know.
I mean, because you think about it, like even Mama Marin with Detective Wilden and like Hannah like walking in, he's like in a towel.
At the very least, it wouldn't have been on ABC Family, later Freeform. They at the very least would have to have changed some of it because like on like basic cable or network TV, I don't think it would fly with some of the stuff.
Yeah, I think in terms of Arya's parents, at least for them, to answer your question, kind of, Caroline, I think their thing is kind of realistic. Of all the ridiculousness in the show, he had an affair and she has an issue with that. And now, of course, they're handling it poorly, as you said, Emily. But that's kind of, unfortunately, somehow how it works out, where sometimes the kids are reacting in a bad way, and sometimes one or two of them are acting a little immature about it or mature. It gets really messy. So at least in terms of that feels the same. But yeah, I don't know if about the cop walking around without a shirt on with the high school person in the house. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
It would be like at least a warning at the front being like, these are bad parents. Don't model yourselves after them.
Right.
Do not raise your children like this.
Well, and also with Emily's parents, gosh, now I'm so like afraid that I'm going to say something that hasn't happened yet, but I'm pretty sure we talked about it. Because like when she comes out to them, her dad's totally fine with it, but her mom is not, which I don't know. I mean, part of me is like, that's very realistic. Like, I feel like some parents are, okay with it and some are in denial, but I don't know if they would show that so much.
I do think they would actually have like a warning at the beginning to like, this does depict something that may be triggering or something to certain audiences. And how like they have like the resources a lot of the time on those, like reach out to this X, Y, and Z to help with for help if you need anything. I think they would probably do something like that because it is realistic and it should be depicted in media, but it is rough for a lot of people. I don't think it would like Pretty Little Liars kind of just like, here's an episode or two about it and let's just move on.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, this is a serious issue that's incredibly detrimental to Emily's psyche and how she feels about herself and how she puts herself out into the world. Instead, it's just like, that mother is terrible, let me tell you.
That is a great segue, podcast Emily, to talk about Emily, because I had that same thought too, because this is even at the end of the first season, we have that whole, Emily, getting more in touch with who she is and right and who she loves. And then there's the issue with mom, and then she kind of forgives her. I don't know I don't know. I guess you might forgive a parent, but I thought she let Pam off pretty nicely in the aftermath of what occurred with her and Maya, all that stuff.
I stand by my stance that Pam is trash.
Because they hug near the end of that first season. Remember, they had there's like that swim meet, and Pam kind of stands up for her when Paige's dad flips out, and then and then Pam's like, "Oh, I see myself in Paige's dad, and I don't want to be that person." But yeah, I think you're right. I don't know. I think there might have been.
She takes a baby step, but they treat it like, oh well, nope, she's perfect now. It's fine now. What she did wasn't bad now.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's a big step that she's trying. I think that's like the biggest thing you can do is like try to change what like your problematic thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Emily appreciates that. So I think that's why she's maybe being a little bit more forgiving than like other people would, because it's her mom at the end of the day. So those relationships are always complicated.
Right.
Emily needs to love herself more and know she's worth more than Pam Fields.
And how do you feel about Emily's romantic partners? We start with Ben, who of course podcast stands. Ben, yes, trash. Ben sucks. Terrible. I kind of liked Maya, but Maya, unfortunately, her parents sent her away to that religious camp, right? Remember correctly? And then we don't really see her again, at least season 1. And then of course we have Paige.
I hate Paige.
Yeah, I do
too.
I didn't know there was
I
such
hate
hate
Paige's
against Paige.
face. Like I just see her face and I'm like, I know this is not a girl I'm gonna like.
I want to throw a book at it.
Yeah, Paige seems to be high on people's hate list. I mean, I don't like Paige either, but people really don't like Paige.
I mean, she tried to drown her.
This is true.
Yeah, and I think it's clear Paige doesn't even like herself.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Paige, I think at the time, talking about Emily and Paige, I think Emily saw herself in Paige a little bit, where Paige was just on the journey that Emily's further along in. So I think that's where the empathy came from on Emily's side. Like, oh, she's got parents.
Paige did absolutely nothing to warrant that empathy.
That's true.
Emily's just a really good person.
Yeah. That could be a thing.
Emily
nice.
needs to love herself more and know she deserves more than Ben and Paige.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't like either of them.
Of all of them, Maya is easily my favorite. She just needs to work out some of her personal issues.
Yeah.
But like, don't we all? I didn't really see that.
That's true. I kind of hope Maya comes back. I mean, obviously, I've just started season 2. I don't know. It'd be nice to see her come back.
Maya instead of Pam.
Swap out Maya for Pam, yeah.
Or just at least swap her out for Paige. Like, dang.
Speaking of problematic exes, let's go to Hannah, who had Sean right at the start of the season.
Yes.
Moved to Caleb, and that whole thing with Jenna, right? Having hired Caleb to spy on her, but then he fell in love. And had emotions. And I think this is the perfect time.
Still like kicks him out, right?
Oh yeah, no,
she's like, go away.
Kicks him out. There's the whole Lucas thing, right, where Lucas has a crush, and then that kind of falls apart a little bit.
Yeah.
Then we have Mona. Mona kind of floating in the background. I think she's closest to Mona, but Mona's kind of obviously floating around this group too.
Yeah, Mona is Hannah's best friend when the group kind of disbands. So like while Arya's in Iceland, it's Mona and Hannah, and then I think Mona is still pretty close to her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
am I remembering correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think she also feels some like jealousy towards her relationship with the other 3. So we'll see what happens.
I think when I first watched it, I thought Mona was in love with Hannah. I think the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, she that's why she's so angry that she has these other ladies in her life. And she immediately takes them back. Watching it again, I think Mona's just like, as Caroline said, just very jealous. And she's like, well, I was there for you when they weren't, but like now you're just picking them up like they did nothing. Like, what the heck, guys?
Yeah. I think she definitely like idolizes Hannah too, because Hannah's like the replacement for Allie, who was like the it girl prior to that. What I think Mona doesn't understand is sometimes people have shared history and that makes their relationships, come back stronger. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean she loves her any less.
And it's very peppered out throughout in different ways, but it's clear that Allie was really mean to Lucas, right? We'll be honest there. It doesn't forgive what Lucas was doing, but she was pretty mean to him. And Mona was
monstrous.
Yeah.
Allie was monstrous to people.
So to yes, and what you're saying, Emily, also I think Mona, much like Lucas, who Lucas kind of expresses it very, very upfront for us to see. I think Mona still has a little bit of like, Allie was mean to me. How dare, who I still like Hannah, and Hannah's my friend, but how dare Hannah associate herself with these Allie, wannabes who was mean to me too.
And it probably just brings up all the memories of like, this is the time when all that bad stuff was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Triggers a shame response.
Well put. I've never heard that term before. I really like that.
That's good.
It happens a lot to me. So kidding.
So before we move off of Hannah, Caleb and Hannah. Clearly Sean is not right for her, right?
Oh, he's
at least I never thought so. Yeah.
He loves Jesus. He's right for Jesus.
Sure.
Yeah, isn't there a whole thing where like he won't like bone her?
Yeah, he wants to save himself, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, and here's the thing. That's everyone's choice.
Sure.
It's just, I don't know. It's got to be like upfront, which I guess he was, and she was trying to like change that, which is not good on Hannah. We shouldn't want to change people. We should just accept them for who they are. But she also, wasn't he the guy that she really liked when Allie was around, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And did he like Allie? Am I remembering that?
Yep.
Okay.
It's very heavily hinted at, that fact. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So I could see that. That would be hard. I don't know. I couldn't do it. But then Caleb is so sweet. He's sweet. He's cute. He's thoughtful. He's really tech savvy. So he can like do things for people. I don't know. I really like him. Now, I guess his whole like, he was like spying on her for Jenna, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's not cool. But then he was, I think, upfront about it and he stopped doing it.
He
as
did.
Far as I know.
Yeah, he caught some feelings. That's why he stopped.
Yeah. So, I don't know. We all make mistakes.
Also, he was, this again, not excusing it, but he was new to Rosewood. He didn't know anyone. This was, you learn like he hasn't had the easiest life. And so
yeah,
it was a quick way to make a buck because he's had to fend for himself so much. So like, why wouldn't you try and pick up an opportunity when you're like, I'm not invested in these people?
Do they go into his backstory at all in the first season?
A tiny bit. They say that, right? He's a foster child, right? Like he doesn't know his birth parents, etc. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's also hard. Because also, wasn't he living in the school?
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
And then he talks about how his foster parents didn't even know, which again, like that gives you at least an inkling into the fact like no one cares about him. He got to take care of himself.
Yep.
I know. Taught himself to. Does he code or is he just tech savvy?
He does everything.
He does everything. Yeah.
He's great.
He hacks phones. He makes them super powered. We don't know what that means, but he does it.
Exactly. See, he can he can make a buck. He can fend for himself. You don't take care of him. I love Caleb. I would have totally, if he was at my high school, oh my gosh, I don't know what I would have done. I would have had to be like kept at home. I'd be like really annoying and like want him to fall in love with me and wouldn't leave him alone. But like probably be like unintentionally mean because I think that would like help.
Would you learn to code or hack for him? For a common interest?
Probably. Oh, for sure. I'd be like, can you teach me to code?
Okay.
How do I hack and change my grades?
How do I make a super phone?
I know. I need a super phone.
So, Caroline, since clearly you're a fan of Caleb, do you think it's unreasonable for Hannah to not, at least at the end of the first season, basically not forgiven him? Like she has a chance right at the end there. He's on his, for some reason, the bus is right there next to the big fair and all the other chaos going on. There's a bus there. He's getting on the bus, right? And Hannah has a chance. She can run up to him and forgive him and he would stay. But she says, no, I'm not going to forgive him. Do you think Hannah's being unreasonable, or yeah, if you're in Hannah's shoes there?
I don't think she's being unreasonable. I think what he did was very hurtful. She's also very young, so she doesn't really understand. I feel like a lot of people in high school don't really understand that like everyone has their own like unique experiences, and like the world revolves around each of us, and it's not like Caleb's world revolves around Hannah. So yeah, I probably would have had a hard time. I think he would have had to do something like bigger in order to like make it up to me, because he's done this to me now. For me to forgive that, especially just because the history with Hannah and Jenna is so, it goes back so far, and it's just so like heated, so much tension, that I think that just kind of heightens everything. So I probably wouldn't have run after him either.
And
I would have done it, but like the moment too late, where it's like it's just gonna, you're like, no, I have so many regrets.
That too, yeah, that could happen too.
And Emily, since you're our parent expert, I particularly like Ashley, Hannah's mom, the best of all of them. How do you
hands
feel coming out
down.
of that?
There's
Okay.
no competition.
Okay.
No.
I agree. She's the best.
Mama Mary's the best.
Would divorce her. Like, I don't think you can do better.
It's Mama Marin, then Mr. Fields, whose name escapes me in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Then probably Ella. Then Spencer's mom. Spencer's dad hasn't really existed too much in the show. Then Byron, and then Pam.
Pam at the very bottom.
But what about Chad Lowe?
That's Byron.
Did you mention?
That's Byron.
I mentioned Byron. I didn't hear you say Byron. I was looking up like facts that like you don't know about Pretty Little Liars, and they're like, Chad Lowe dated Hilary Swank, and I'm like, nobody cares.
They were married. They didn't date. They were married.
Oh, wow.
They may have been married. Yeah, I feel like he probably cheated on her.
Well, he does on the show.
I should check that. You should cut this.
It's absolutely, yeah, it's absolutely fact. We fact checked that. It's absolutely true. Speaking of, our last liar we'll cover is Spencer, who I think had a very difficult first season. Namely being suspected of murder of Allison, but among many other things. Particularly, I think her relationship with her sister is just does not get any better throughout this entire season. In fact, it probably gets worse. And then, of course, we have to talk about Ian now that we're on Spencer, also in the mix. How do we feel Spencer? Spencer, I feel like started pretty like kind of grounded, and then we kind of spiraled out from there.
Yeah, Spencer is spiraling. I will say that. But Spencer, like everything that happens to Spencer, I feel like she kind of does a lot of it to herself. Like with Ren, doesn't she kiss him?
Yeah. I mean, he does.
They kiss each other. Like it's bad on both of theirs, but like she makes poor life choices.
She does. Yeah, I think I don't know if there's like an entitlement thing that's going on. If there's a sibling rivalry thing that it's weird.
Self-sabotage?
Could be that too. Yeah.
She's so angry at her family so much of the time, and they're always like, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. Do you think it's like she's like, well, I can do all this messed up stuff. Like, let's see how far I can push this.
Yeah, because her family is like, her mom's like a high-powered lawyer. Is that right?
Yep.
So it's kind of like whatever trouble she gets herself in, she probably feels pretty confident that she's going to get out of it.
Yeah. And then obviously Melissa was dating Ian when Ian made moves on Spencer. And then, of course, it happens again with Ren with Rienne's when they're engaged to be married. And then Ren and Spencer not only have their smooch, but Melissa sees it. So it's just like it just constantly.
It's not cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if she's got some daddy issues or something. I can't think of like what.
She has a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Why else she would do that? Because it feels like it's an attention thing, like that she wants their attention and their affection. I also maybe her like dad worked a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, also her sister was always like number one at everything. Number one, she's perfect. She lives up to the standard that the family has for her and all this kind of stuff. And so it's like, well, if Melissa's so perfect according to like what the Hastings want of her, like I'm going to take something away from her. I'm going to take something she has, maybe.
Yeah.
That's true. Because that is something that parents do a lot that they shouldn't do, which is like comparing their children, because everyone has a different experience and different like strengths and weaknesses. And just because one kid can, get straight A's in AP classes doesn't mean the other one can.
It's unrealistic and unhealthy.
Before we leave Spencer, I mean, we can't leave talking about her and the attempted murder of Ian upon her at the end of the season. I don't even know how to. We don't even have to get into it here because it is just a wild season finale. But he has that whole thing where their car gets hit. Melissa's in the hospital. Spencer confronts him. They have this whole struggle in the Bell Tower of Doom, and he goes down and he seemingly dies, but doesn't. But I mean, how do you even recover from that? I mean, that's absolutely traumatic. The fiance of your sister, all this happens to her. Absolutely traumatic.
Yeah, she goes through some shit.
Yeah. I will say, I kind of miss the ball boy boyfriend. I liked him.
Yeah, but he gave up so easily. Melissa just said something, and that's when he was like, "Well, I'm out."
Well, they got aid. He got that letter that was a fake letter about, oh, you really want to go to this school? And he's like, well, if you want me to go, Spencer, I guess I'll go. And then I never saw him again. I guess they broke
he
up.
was
You're
out.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But that romantic thing.
That's the relationship I was thinking of. Is that the only person she dates this season?
Oh no, Caroline! Don't forget about Toby.
Okay, see, I didn't want to jump the gun again.
Love blooms. Oh no, that love is strong.
I was gonna say we can't talk about the important relationship in Spencer's life and not talk about Toby.
Which I have a little fun fact that I wasn't gonna say if it hadn't happened yet. So Spencer and Toby are not together in the books, but I guess okay, I always get her pronounce her name wrong. Is it Troyan?
Yeah.
Belisario?
Yeah.
And Keegan Allen, I guess they have such good chemistry that's why Spoby, which might be the worst couple name I've ever heard, became a thing.
But do we like Tensor better?
No, I don't like either. Let's just call them Spencer and Toby. But Spoby sounds like Scoby, which makes me think of kombucha.
This makes me think of scabies, which is very good.
Which is bad, yeah. It's gross.
Can I make a controversial statement here on our recap of season 1?
Is it that you like first Toby better?
I just don't feel the Spencer Toby connection. I like both of them separate. I just don't feel. I feel like they have a lot of shared issues going on right now. Right, they're both accused of murdering Allie. That's one way to bond, right? I'm just not feeling the chemistry. I thought she had a lot more spark with the guy from the tennis club. I mean, I like them together. It's safe and it's secure. I'm just not. I don't know.
I just think you might be a little too invested in this tennis club guy.
He was awesome. I liked him. They had that romantic thing in the kitchen.
And he's not coming back.
Is that a spoiler?
I have no idea. I don't remember.
He better come back. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it'll change. Maybe as the seasons go on and they get married. No. But I don't know. Maybe I'll feel differently.
So all I'll say is there's when ABC Family used to air this show, I never watched it until one day my good friends were like, hey, let's watch this show that we watch. Emily, you can be there too. And they used to put hashtags up in the corner to encourage you to watch it. And there was a Toby centric hashtag that prompted me to go back to my home and watch the first 3 seasons and couple episodes within a week. So
wow. Okay.
I have a soft spot for Toby. It was the funniest hashtag that's ever existed. Made me laugh so much.
Well, fun fact for our listeners, and we can cut this out if you two don't want me to include this, but I used to get photos from Caroline and Emily of Toby, and I had zero context of who he was.
Looking through a window.
Yeah, he's looking through a window. I had no idea what was happening. I'm imagining this is about the time you were watching the show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He loved you, Chris.
I love him too. Just maybe not with Spencer. I don't know.
Well, then, I don't think you loved him. He seems to get upset when I sent him to you.
Well, the only other liar he's really kind of close with is that he goes to a dance with Emily, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like there was more of a spark there, or?
He was into Emily. He asked her out.
Yeah. and I don't think this is a spoiler for my audience, although I'll probably release this after I've already watched it. I actually really like the platonic friendship they've been building, because once you're right, Emily, it was kind of like, is romance? And then when it was not romance, they kind of come to each other when they need like friend support, Emily and Toby, which I really like.
He wasn't crummy about it when she was like, I'm not into you.
Exactly.
He made, because they were lab partners. And like she started talking to him and like being like, oh, he's not kind of this monstrous human that everyone is making him out to be. She actually got to know Toby.
Yeah.
And his weird little face.
He's a good guy. He's one of the characters I think I like probably the most. Like, not, I wouldn't say like top tier, but he's up there.
He's not like a Mama Marin, but he's up
there.
Right.
Exactly. For like the I guess, would you consider him a main character? I don't ever know. Or do you just consider the 4 liars the main character?
Okay, so the 4 liars are our primary characters. And then we got our secondary characters, which are like Allie, Caleb, Toby, and then we got our tertiary characters, which are like Pam.
Gotcha. Okay.
So those are the 4 liars. I think we covered them. Is there anything anyone you want to miss before we talk about A? Any secondary, tertiary characters you feel we haven't talked about enough in our recap right now?
We touched upon Detective Wilden, who's gross.
Yeah.
We touched upon Ian, who's gross.
Yeah. Gross.
And we talked about Mona, who seems misguided in life.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anyone else?
I mean, Noel, I don't know what's going on with Noel. I think he's involved with some shady stuff. But he too has anger towards Allie. I mean, Allie did break up the relationship. Now Noel's
she was horrible.
Yeah.
I think we've touched upon all of them in their relationship to the liars. Like Lucas upsets me a lot of the time because I'm like, I feel for you so much. Why are you doing this dumb and raging thing that makes me mad at you?
Right.
You are like a victim here. You are in the right for being angry, and now you're just doing something bad.
Yeah, I agree. I guess we should mention Jenna really quickly.
I don't like Jenna.
Again, not
I like
too
when Jenna gets hit in the face.
In the bathroom when she gets cracked in the face.
Yeah.
In case you didn't know, this was Hannah or whatever she says. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, again, unwarranted. Again, the reaction does not justify the behavior, whatever. She did get blown up by a firecracker of doom, thanks to Allie and the 4 liars.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand where it comes from.
Never apologize for it.
No, at least as far as I've seen.
It also might be karma for her assaulting her brother sexually. So blind Jenna can stay blind. I don't like how they handle that whole storyline where it's like, well, she did horrible things to her stepbrother, but it's okay.
Yeah.
So I think that was karma coming for her. I don't care that they didn't apologize to her. Maybe that sounds harsh, but she was terrible.
And why is Garrett undercover with Jenna? We see it, but it's not
they're
even
in love.
Okay.
Yeah, that's weird too.
Right. I don't think we need to talk about. I think we've said all we need to say. Just to refresh the two of you, I'll first tell you some of my A theories that unfortunately have not survived the first season. First, I had the FBI was created this A persona to find out what happened to Allison. That's not true. That is not. I kind of had to let that go. And my Jenna is Allison theory also, unfortunately, went by the wayside this first season. I was really, really pulling for that one. But I still like my A is run by a whole group of people theory. And I wanted your thoughts coming at the end of the season, because the show really wants us to think it's all Ian, right? It's Ian's A. But I still think Mona somehow is involved. Noel's involved. I still think Lucas is involved. I think even Caleb might even know it exists. So what do y'all think about this? Knowing all the players and possible A's, what do you think about this? Oh, yeah. And then Allie's alive. I am sticking to as well, with very scant evidence. But yeah, just your thoughts on some of my existing A theories.
Well, I guess another question about your A theories. So you believe that Allison is alive. Do you believe that Allison is A?
So here's my complicated theory at the end of season 1. Think of it like a Facebook group, right? You can anonymously send messages. I've now started going, oh, Allison sent this A message. Noel sent this A message. Mona sent this A message. I don't think everyone else knows each other is A as well, if that makes sense. So like, say I'm
So
Mona.
it's just coincidence that all these people are A and they're all signing it A.
Well, it's
But they
like
don't
a
know each other.
service.
Yeah.
So you could log on, Caroline, and send a message to
Oh,
me as
gotcha,
A.
gotcha.
Then Emily can sign on and send a message as A to you. But you two wouldn't know that who you are as A.
Yeah.
We just know that we hate the same people.
Well, that's, I guess, my other question, because it doesn't happen, I think, in the first season, although it does happen briefly when there's that liposuction tweet that goes out that A sent like a message to a whole bunch of people. A does seem focused on the four of them, but it's not necessarily just the four of them. So I think it was inspired by Allison, but I don't think the four liars are the only people who could get an A message, is what I'm saying.
Interesting. Okay.
So you think there's other people who just either don't take it as seriously or just haven't come forward yet?
What do you mean? Like other people who've gotten messages?
Yeah.
Well, I think whomever made it, which I don't know who made it yet, but let's say it's Noel Khan. Noel Khan doesn't know how to freaking do this stuff, but let's say he did. He set it up to harass the four liars. Mona finds out about it. You're right. I think she would take it a little less seriously, maybe to tease Hannah for some reason, but also to really do mean stuff to the other ones. Lucas, I don't know why he would do it, but Allie might do it to kind of, because we do find this thumb drive, right, with the videos. I think she poked Emily enough to find that to let that open, because as we know, she's in police protective custody and the witness protection program. So she
do we know that?
So she can't say, Emily, I left a thing here. So she has to use the A thing, because she thinks it's funny too, I'm sure. And Ian and Melissa know about it. So Melissa, as her way to get back at Spencer, does her thing. Ian does it because, as Chris thinks, Melissa accidentally was the one that hurt Allison. So Ian's using it to scare Spencer away and into silence, etc. So, but in theory, someone could A Melissa, and Melissa wouldn't tell Spencer, I don't think.
They don't have that kind of bond.
Yeah. Is that all sound ridiculous, or would the two of you think?
I like your idea of a group of A's strictly because I just can't fathom one person doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't fathom how it's humanly possible. And maybe they're an alien. Maybe they're a robot. I don't know. But it does not seem possible for one person to see all of these things, to have this sort of, it's like an omniscient, omnipresent something where they can know everything about every detail of the liars' lives.
Yeah.
So I do like that theory. Because, how could one person know all of this stuff? You'd have to be everywhere at once, and that's not possible.
Unless it was like the thing that the person was only doing, like they didn't have a life outside of it.
Or they had a super phone.
I didn't want to say it, Emily, but I think either Caleb or Lucas set it up, know how it works. I hate to say it, but I don't know.
Why would you hate to say it? It's your theory. We've got to know your theories.
I don't want to upset Caroline, because I think Caleb might know what's going on, or at least know it exists.
It's true. He seems to know more than you would expect him to know.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it's like, if he does know about it, does he know about it and he's trying to like protect the girls? Because he's such a good guy.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
Find out, right?
Yeah. The very, very end of the first season, well, here's the two things. One, this is not a spoiler. I know I'm not going to figure out A, or at least the show's not going to tell me who A is until we're all done. I'm just going to say that. However, I think I can
even do that then.
But I think I could get close. But what confused me at the very end of the season, so we're like, okay, this is the big A confrontation, right? Ian confronts Spencer. They have their fight, and then there's the person in the hoodie. Okay, the person in the hoodie and the gloves that shoves Ian into the Bell Tower of Doom and then runs away. We see that person run away, and then Noel Khan joins the crowd, which we've already done this trick mid-season when there was the party at Mona's. My other theory is that there are multiple people who are playing this little game of the hoodie and gloves person. Why? I don't know. But what do you think about that? There's a lot of people in town running around with hoodies and gloves. What do we make of all that?
Why do you think people would come together to do that, though?
Good question. because I still can't get over the dance when someone the end thing is they go up to Ella and they get their ticket back and they went to the dance with their freaking leather coat and their gloves and their hat. I'm like,
Maybe it's just cold.
You know, I
Maybe
think
they wore their dress hoodie.
Aren't they in Pennsylvania?
but I don't think that person is the same as hoodie person that pushed Ian into the Tower of Doom.
Oh my God.
We are joined by another PLL expert. I'm so excited.
Oh, let me change my name.
This will be video.
Okay, well, just for you guys, so you know how to address me.
I like knowing your true identity.
Yeah, we were just talking about my last A theory about the multiple people running around in gloves and hoodies. And I think I think you're right, Carolyn. Maybe it's just cold and everyone's trying to do shady stuff in warm clothing. Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah. And much like on the show, we are now joined by our who wants to be referred to as our AO3 expert. AO3 expert, thank you for joining this season 1 recap.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
You joined at the right time. I think we've got the season in the bag. So I'm kind of opening it up to the three of you. If there's anything you want to talk about, AO3, I know you have a specific topic you'll be addressing. But Caroline and Emily, anything that you want to be sure is mentioned about the first season of Pretty Little Liars?
I would just like to know how AO3 feels about Pam Fields.
Well, okay, so in rewatching, because I watched this when it aired, which is a long time ago now that I think about it.
Like 2010, right?
Yeah, I didn't remember any of these people were in the show. It's been a long time trying to figure out who people were, and like the moms, I don't remember which one, like who belongs to who, except
Pam is Emily's mother.
Yeah, and you would think that I would remember that one, seeing as like she's like the only one who's not white. Like I think I remember who Arya's mom is. But yeah, the mom, like, and then I watched the first season and then I kind of watched random episodes here and there throughout while I was remembering things that had happened on the show. And then I rewatched the finale last night while my kid wasn't sleeping, and wow, there's a lot of stuff that happened. Remember, yeah. I won't say it here, but
the finale.
The finale.
Okay.
Like I watched the season 1 finale, and also was still confused for whatever reason. But then I watched the series finale, and that's where I got really confused about the moms, because the moms were talking, and I didn't know who they were. I just realized I don't remember anybody on the show. And then I realized that the pilot must have been filmed a lot. I don't know if you guys mentioned, like the pilot must have been filmed a lot long before like the rest of the series, because they look completely different between episode 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I did notice that right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot more soap opera-y than I remember too. That was a big thought that I had. I did not remember that it was like a soap opera. It was just like the sound effects when something would be revealed. It was like
a lot of that cymbal crash.
Yeah. I had that feeling a lot.
Yeah, love it. So yeah, Caroline, Emily, we'll get to you, AO3. I know you have some research to share with us. Yeah, Caroline, Emily, is there anything else that you think we should mention before? I
have some like interesting facts about that shouldn't be spoilers.
Sure, I'll let it out there.
So I'm always like very interested with like what roles the actors went out for initially, and then what they were cast.
Interesting.
So Brant Doherty, I think that's how you pronounce his name, he auditioned for the parts of Ezra and Toby before landing on Noel. So it's like, could you imagine Noel as Ezra or Toby?
Huh. Very different. Yeah, very different.
Absolutely not. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I know, like totally different vibe, right?
Yeah.
And then I would butcher her name. So the actress who plays Allison originally auditioned for the role of Hannah, which I can kind of see that.
Mm-hmm.
But also
Peters, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's like Petersa or something. Petersa, I don't know. But also she was only 12 when she auditioned.
Oh, wow.
Whereas the other liars, so the oldest is Spencer. She was 23, and she's actually older than Ezra, which I thought was interesting. And then Lucy Hale and Ashley Benson were 19, and Shay Mitchell was 21. And the other thing I thought was interesting in the article that I was reading as like fun facts you didn't know is that they said Shay Mitchell's real name isn't actually Shay, it's Shannon, and then in all caps, scandalous. But Shay Mitchell also initially read for the part of Spencer.
Oh, okay.
So, and then the only other big thing that I thought was super interesting was Ashley Tisdale was initially given the role of Hannah, but she decided, I guess it was, she took another role in a show called, I think, Hellcats, that I'd never heard of, and it was
on the
canceled after
CW about cheerleading.
Mm-hmm.
With
Yeah, she was also
Allie from Allie and AJ. One of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never heard of it, so obviously it did great. But then the other thing that I thought was kind of interesting was that Pretty Little Liars uses some of the same sets as Gilmore Girls. So the Apple Rose Grill was Luke's Diner, and Emily's Porch was formerly the Gilmore Girls.
Wow.
And they were shot on the Warner Brothers small town set. So you'll see things like the white steepled church, the gazebo in the town square, and some repurposed houses and storefronts. Oh, okay. And actually, I have one more thing. I didn't know this. Maybe everybody knows this and I don't. But Allison's last name of De Laurentiis is an anagram of the phrase Liars United.
Oh.
I didn't know. So I thought that was kind of... Oh, okay. One more thing. Lucy Hale improvised her putting her finger up to her mouth to say the shh. And it really bothers her that it's not perfectly
It's off center.
Yeah. And apparently she's very upset about that. Or it bothers her. So she's not upset.
Not a spoiler, but later on they do redo the opening titles, and I believe in some stupid thing she was like, it was finally my time to right the wrong, and so she did it correctly.
Oh, that was great.
I was going to mention I don't know why you reminded me of this, Caroline, but I don't know if I ever told you all that when I worked at Whole Foods circa 2011, 2012, I think 2 or 3 of the liars had come into my store at any given time. I know for sure Shay Mitchell had come in a number of times.
You mean Shannon?
Shannon. Sorry.
Scandalous.
Real name. And then I want to say Lucy Hale for sure. I'm not sure if it was Ashley Benson was the other one that I saw. And then I feel like I saw Lucy Hale at like a Starbucks nearby too. It was a pretty like popular area. But I remember because I was watching the show and then I saw them, and it just felt like I was in Rosewood when it happened. Like it felt real.
I love it.
So maybe AO3 is A, is what we're saying. Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know. Never know.
I was watching them at the store.
Emily, yeah, did you want to share anything else before we turn over to AO3?
We don't have much of Allison's family right now, just that they left, and we've seen Jason.
Original.
Yes, original Jason. Jason 1.
And we saw Mom very briefly in the pilot, but they never come back. Yeah.
But it's interesting to see how much the De Laurentiis like family still impacts the town and all that. Just it's like they picked up and left, but they left stuff in Maya's house, and I guess their former house. Like they just left it there. It was chill.
Mm-hmm.
So just interesting to see the impact and like why Jason's so cagey when he's there. Jason 1.
Jason original, yeah.
Yeah.
You'll always be my Jason.
No.
Which Toby is your Toby? Because there are 2 Tobys technically.
Are there 2 Tobys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Toby in the pilot is different, right?
Yeah.
Did he even say his name? Because I remember I think one of you told me that, and I don't even know if it hit me that was the same Toby.
I think does he bring Jenna into the...
He does.
He does. And the original actor's name was James Neat. And then he was replaced with Keegan Allen in the actual series.
Wow.
It was one of my fun facts, but I had too many.
That's interesting. So we have, okay. Interesting. Great. if there's nothing else, AO3, you had a special project that you want to share with us. I don't even know how to introduce this, so I'll let you take the floor here.
AO3 obviously is something that I'm very interested in.
Sure.
I don't read a lot of these or any of these, to be completely honest with you. It's just, I really like searching and seeing what people come up with, because it's intriguing, horrifying, fascinating, and I don't know, I just really like it. It's a weird sect of humanity when you get on there. And I have to preface this by saying that when I go on AO3, it's easy enough to just make a fan fiction about something and just be like, oh, these two characters hook up. That's easy. That's like juvenile. Anyone can say that.
Yeah, could you explain for those who may not know what is on AO3? Like, what would someone be going in there to look for?
Fan fiction is I mean, basically, and it's not just like movies or shows or books. I mean, I've seen Mr. Clean from the commercials hook up with some characters. I think Colonel Sanders has shown up in a few. Politicians are really popular lately. Just anybody, anything, and most times they're just hooking up. Like it's a love story, or it's just like pure smut. But that's easy. Like that's too easy for me. So I really like it if there's some sort of like crossover, but it can't be too many projects, because sometimes I've seen where it's like 60 different fandoms and I don't even know that's too overwhelming for me. The first one I found, and a really common thing, was that for whatever reason, Glee and Pretty Little Liars was commonly brought together. I don't know much about Glee to have really cared.
Sure.
But I thought that was interesting because for whatever reason, those two were really common. And then I only found one where Charmed was, it was like a Charmed Pretty Little Liars crossover. And I would have thought, because of the mom, that would have been used a lot more, because I definitely would have, if I was creative, would have used that.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure I mentioned this previously, did not find Shrek in any of these.
So no Shrek PLL crossovers. That's disappointing.
No,
That's
yeah.
disappointing. Yeah.
And Shrek is paired with everybody normally, right?
Yeah. I've seen multiple,
just for the audience.
I've seen several Shrek and like Obama or Trump hookups. Like that's just common. Like, of course they would hook up.
First level kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point, it's kind of boring. Like the first one I saw, I thought, oh my God, that's so weird. But then after a while, I was like, of course. But I see him with everybody. Like if you go to Shrek, your computer's just going to explode on an archive of your own. And you're going to be there for days looking through the bizarre results. But for whatever reason, they don't hook up with any of the Pretty Little Liars. Like I found,
I think we can change that.
I was going to say, listening audience, AO3 Expert has kind of given you a challenge here.
So, I mean, I would love to read it. I would read that one. I did not read any of the ones that I found, to be completely honest. I mean, I did like open them and was intrigued by some of them. But if you give me a Shrek one, I'll read it. It's always bizarre. I don't know why Shrek has become such a sex icon on this website, but he really is.
You just use the word Shrek and sex icon in the same sentence.
Yes, and I'll do it again.
Please don't.
I did find Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Pretty Little Liars together.
Okay.
That one I liked. I thought that was kind of an easy mix.
Okay.
And what was the other one that I was going to bring up when it came to crossovers? To Charmed. Vampire Diaries came up a little bit, which
that makes sense.
I kind of expected as well. And then I think I also brought it up before that there was, I can't read it. I think, Caroline, you said it was French, but there was a crossover between Pretty Little Liars and The Love Hypothesis, which in itself is a book based off of Raylo fan fiction. I have no idea what happens in this fan fiction, but that's like fan fictionception, and I wish I knew any French, because I am intrigued to know how that would have worked out. how Kylo Ren and Rey, but in an alternate reality, would have worked with the Pretty Little Liars. Also, Spider-Man and Arya. I think that one was a
Really?
yeah.
Huh.
And it was kind of like a cute, like Peter Parker, like high school kind of thing. One thing I did notice was a trend is that Allie hooks up with almost everybody on AO3.
Oh.
I don't know why.
Hmm.
But she's shipped
That
with
checks
everybody.
out though. I feel like.
Yeah, she's very popular.
Okay.
And also for whatever reason, I don't know, this one intrigued me. Ezra and Noel.
I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see that, sure.
And when you brought
100%.
up that he had the auditioning thing,
Yeah.
immediately I was like, oh, well, they're obsessed with him or them together online. Because I found that a lot. Almost more so than I would say Ezra and Arya was Ezra and Noel. That was way more popular. And I should also say that I just searched basic terms and then went by like most hits or something, just to see what people really liked. And it's Noel and Ezra. Ezra.
Would you say that's number one in your pairings? What would you say number one would be pairings?
I would say probably Allison and Emily.
Okay.
Which was like, that's but I think also Allison was with everybody else. It's probably just Allison and anybody.
Okay.
Was most popular. And then Arya, and I think what's Allie's brother's name?
Oh, Jason.
Yeah, those two very often.
So wait, so incest? Did you say Allison and Jason, or did I miss it?
Arya, right?
Arya, okay, sorry.
That's a whole other side of the Pretty Little Liars fan fictions is the incest.
Sure, I would imagine, yeah.
I don't know if there's stuff between the girls. I imagine there is, but I need confirmation. Do they have like relationships of the girls getting together?
Yes. Almost all of them at any given point get together.
Right.
They may get together with the other girls' moms. That happens. The moms are very popular as well. And then I don't really know why this was a thing, but I found more than I would have expected instances where Spencer and her sister were paired together.
Okay.
There's a lot of tension there.
Yeah.
I guess it's the Noel Ezra thing, right? It's the same.
I guess that was like a really common one. My personal favorite, and I was tempted to read it just to see how this would have worked out, but it does say it was unfinished and it's been like 6 years, and I don't want to be disappointed. It was a fan fiction where it's got Harry Potter, Pretty Little Liars, Glee, Teen Wolf, and I said Vampire Diaries. And this Harry Potter is actually the son of Damon Salvatore from the Vampire Diaries.
Okay.
And that's all that you really get as a description.
I mean, what else do you need? I'm already in.
I think it's it said powerful Harry, very powerful, possible multiple personalities, cross-dressing, Harry sings, and future MPreg, which I found out is male pregnancy, I think. I didn't know. I don't know enough about the internet to know what that meant, found out. So yeah, I was intrigued by this one because there's a lot going on. But such a simple description is that Harry Potter is Damon Salvatore's child. And that's it. So that's all you have to go off of. But it's not finished. So like, what if it's really good? And then I'll never know how it ends.
Which one was the most distressing for you to find?
Let me see if I saved it. I might not have, because was it this one? No, why? I don't remember why I saved this one, but it's Pretty Little Liars. And is it Naruto? Is that how you pronounce it?
The animated show? The anime from like the 90s?
Yes. I don't know.
Naruto?
Yeah,
yes,
Naruto.
There we go. I don't know how to pronounce things clearly. So I didn't save it, but it had to do with like, I think it was like the moms all hooking up, but then it also said like I think Hannah and her mom had hooked up, and then Arya's mom paired with like half of the school, which was like not the teachers, the students. So I didn't save that one because I didn't want you guys to think that that was something that I was intrigued by. I was more disturbed by it.
AO3 expert. We are not judging anyone's not yucking anyone's yum here.
I mean,
yeah.
There was like another one. I mean, I don't want to like kink shame.
Sure.
I don't understand some things, but that's not my thing. It's not someone else's. There was like one where all the liars were like in diapers, and that was just like the story was they were in diapers.
Okay.
I don't know what it means, and you know what? It's your thing. Didn't save that one.
That makes me feel icky.
And they weren't babies. Like it wasn't like alternate reality Pretty Little Liar babies. They were in high school.
Have they like just had kids or something?
Nope, not even that as an excuse. Not any kind of like bowel issues.
Just wearing them.
They just wanted to wear diapers. But yeah,
People do that sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to wear one because I had a kid, but that was like not by choice.
Mm-hmm.
I had a former roommate who I had bought a bunch of Depends for a show, and she decided that she wanted to know what they were like. So she put them on and used them, and she used all of them. Like not just one.
Well, they didn't go to waste
multiple times.
Yeah,
it's true. But then when we brought that sketch back, I had to buy an entire new pack of Depends.
Did you give her the rest of them?
I should have. They were also size large. So like she said they got very heavy. So fun fact.
Another fun fact.
They were used or they were just worn?
Oh no, she used them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys want, I can find that one. It was surprisingly high up in my search results.
I think I'm okay.
Yeah. I mean, our listeners can do their own research. So I have two more questions for you, AO3, and please add anything else I might have missed too.
Of course.
Do you notice any recent PLL fiction, or did the fiction die when the show went off the air? Like, I'm curious as to authorship time, booms, periods of creativity.
I would say the peak was like 2016.
Okay. Was
when I saw most of them. I was surprised. I did see one that was most recently updated in like 2021 or 2022. And then that one with the Raylo fan fiction, because that book came out last summer, I think. That was like 2022. That one went up. But yeah, I think like 2016 was the median time. So yeah, I keep saying I don't want to get wrapped up in these stories, and then they haven't been updated.
Right. No, I hear you.
Yeah, because then I'm going to be writing my endings, and then I'm writing Pretty Little Liar fan fiction on someone else's fan fiction, and it's dangerous.
My other question is, because I try to shield my listeners who are also watching the show for the first time from spoilers. If, say, a curious listener, just for their own education, wants to tour AO3, might they run into spoilers? Is there like, hey, I'm A, by the way, and I'm hooking up with Harry Potter? Like, could they run into that?
I didn't see that specific spoiler, which, to be fair, I had forgotten until I recently watched the series finale. Who like certain people were. I mean, but I didn't see that in the fan fiction. I did see, for whatever reason, there's like an episode in season 5 that's referenced throughout fan fictions. Like I would say, like, warning, spoiler for episode 5, something, or season 5 episode, blah blah blah. I don't remember what that was, and I did not think to actually watch what it was, but it's referenced several times.
Okay.
But I would think, for whatever reason, whatever that episode is in season 5, that's the one that is spoiled throughout AO3. I don't know why.
But they do give warnings.
Yeah, I really should have figured out what it was, so I understood, but I did not look it up.
So it may not be safe for work, but it's safe from spoilers, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They're really just busy with like hooking up all the girls together. That's really all.
AO3 Expert, do you think anyone might be inspired to write some Chris Watches Pretty Little Liars? Or
Emily, do not.
Chris hooks up with all the girls.
It's me and Ezra having a conversation in the classroom.
You, Ezra, and Noel.
Yeah. I'm like, guys, stop it.
Well, this is actually where I was going to announce that I am getting into the fan fiction writing industry. And yeah, I guess that's where I'm going to have to start.
Fantastic.
I've been inspired.
Fantastic. I mean, this is what we had you out here for. You are expert. Please don't subject yourself to any more. But I mean, if you get any more insights over the coming weeks and months, well, please, I would love to check in with you as you continue your exploration of
Continue your journey.
I mean, I only got through maybe 200 of my search, but there's like 2,000, I would say.
Wow.
On there. I can look more, and I will find the Shrek one. There has to be. It's a rule. He hooks up with everybody.
I've never used AO3, but can you like do what is that called? Like a Boolean search where you put like Pretty Little Liars, Shrek, and then like it'll bring up if they've been tagged together.
I'm really not very proficient in doing that. Like, I thought of that, but I didn't figure out how to do it.
Can we have a listener who listens to this who is going to make for you, AO3 Expert, the Shrek PLL fiction, some sort of message to us? Like if we see it, like, I don't know what that is. Like, Jenna is Allison, like something in there that we know they were inspired by this podcast to create that for you. Does anyone have any ideas of what they could like put in their little secret message for us? What might that be? Like Ben sucks, or I don't know.
Down with Pam.
Yeah, I was gonna say something with Pam.
There we go.
Pam's the worst.
Do I need to know exactly? Because I missed that part of.
No.
Pam Fields is Emily Fields' mother, if you remember. Who, when Emily's like, I like girls, is like, I hate you. You're the worst child ever.
Oh, okay. Because I don't remember that part. I just
You're ruining our
she was
family.
terrible.
You're ruining our family. Everything about you is awful. Have you decided not to be gay?
Of course, clearly.
Yep. So that's it. Not that we're asking you, AO3, to go down this rabbit hole, but if someone does create a Shrek PLL crossover inspired by our chat here today, throw in a Down with Pam in there in your line of dialogue, and we'll know that you're inspired by our chat here today.
I can only dream. Like I'm desperate for it. It's not because I like it. It's just so funny and weird. And why Shrek of all people? But he's very popular. I may just send you all some good Shrek ones if you're interested.
We'll talk offline.
I was gonna say, whether we're interested or not, I feel like you'll send them.
So before we officially wrap up, is there anything else any of you want to talk about? It could be about anything we talked about, something we have not talked about, anything at all before we wrap it up.
Is there anything you're hoping to see in the upcoming seasons, like a story arc or something you like are looking forward to, other than like, oh, we figure out who A is?
Two things. I want to figure out what's really going on with Ian and Melissa, because what's happening that we're seeing, I don't think is what's really going on. And I want at least a little, I know I'm not going to find out who A is, but at least I'd like to figure out a little bit of the apparatus. Like how does A do what they do? That'd be a nice thing for season 2. Yeah. Great. Well, thank you, Caroline, Emily, AO3 Expert. Such a joy to have you here for this panel. I would love to have you back for the end of season 2 if you're willing. Just putting that out there. That won't be for a while because there's 22 episodes, but yeah. Anything else? Anything to plug? Anything else you want to say?
I wish I had something cool to plug,
My child is sitting in the other room. So if you can hear him, I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
All I was going to say is apparently Lucy Hale wanted to be Hannah too, so I forgot to mention that earlier.
Oh, did anyone bring up the fact that Lucy Hale lost the pants for the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants in her past life?
It's true.
Yeah. I can never forgive her for that.
It's true. They had to go on adventures in Greece to try and find them.
Oh, I have one other fun fact.
Sure, please.
It was Ashley Benson who suggested the opening theme song of Secret by the Piercers.
Oh, nice.
So I thought that was fun. It
Nice.
wasn't just like someone came up with it. She actually heard it and was like, I think this would be great.
And Caroline, I could edit this out, but I've always wanted to be sure I gave credit. Caroline is the creator of the logo that you see in your podcast catcher of choice. I wanted to thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Cool. I'm glad you like it.
Well, stay tuned, everybody. More season 2 coming. Thank you again, my experts. And we've said enough for now. Thanks.